All right, and welcome back to episode 029 of the OK Podcast, powered by the Strength Co. Today is July the 16th in the year of our Lord 2024, and the block height is 852-527. Shout out Zach Copley. We need to talk Bitcoin prices here in a minute because they surprised me a little bit today when that comes up. But I got to say that we finally got the Bitcoin press we've been waiting for.
What do you mean?
Some guys on the internet, on X, Brian Harrington, longtime follower of who this podcast is powered by, the Strength Co. And I want to say he's Orange County. You know, this is going to sound like, oh, I can't remember who everyone is. My account must be huge. And I don't mean it to sound like that, but when you've only interacted with people online and never face to face,
right,
that does happen. And then people get busy.
Yeah.
And especially in the lifting world, when they get busy, who do they not want to talk to? Me.
Yeah.
Because they feel guilty. And so I'm not saying that Brian feels guilty. And I think it's Brian Harrington. I'm like 99% sure. But he's a bigger crypto account.
Okay.
And he screenshotted a spot from our YouTube clip where I'm holding a Bitcoin grenade, which is over there on the other side of the room right now. And he saw the clock by it's BlockFi, right? No, Block Clock Mini. I forget who makes it.
He's like, is this a Bitcoin podcast?
Well, he mentioned like, no way at Grand SSC with, and then he tagged the two companies. And I grabbed the two companies and shout out Zach Copley. He didn't send us any crap. This is like, if you're a Bitcoiner.
No, this is niche.
Yes.
Niche merch right
Wait,
here.
is it niche or niche? Serious question.
I think it's
both
are acceptable.
Oh, both are acceptable. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, now I want to look it up, but been tweeting too much about lifting and current events. Here we go. Crypto Cloaks Grenade and repping the Bitcoin block height. Yeah. Brian Harrington, Temecula, California. Yeah. Now I'm seeing his face. I remember him from that. But anyway, it's just funny. We talk about Bitcoin. I have a lot of people that have asked me like, wait, I was really surprised that you like Bitcoin. Should I get into the Bitcoin?
First of all, why are you surprised?
And I'm like, why are you surprised? First of all.
Next thing you're going to tell me you went carnivore or something.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, why are you surprised? And then, so I've had people that like don't know much about it. I mean, obviously everyone has heard of it.
Yeah.
But that have asked me questions and, so I've talked to them. But it was just funny that like people that are in the crypto scene found the OK Podcast, and
we're making a dent in the crypto community.
Hey, all I have to say is the price. Oh, we just went back to the block height. That would have been perfect. But I know we're at 65 and some change.
I have an update.
Okay.
So last week, if you're a loyal listener, you'd know this. I talked about Germany selling all their Bitcoin.
Yeah, you did.
And the crypto crowd is fighting the Germans right now. And check this out. Germany sold all of their Bitcoin for about $54,000.
Okay.
If they waited 2 days, they could have made an extra $3.05 billion.
Man, that's like almost as much money as Elon Musk is going to give to Donald Trump in the next 9 months.
Was it 45 million a month?
45 million a month.
Dude,
yeah.
That guy's funny.
Yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, Bitcoin's coming back. But the important thing to remember is that we were never really down because episode 001, which we recorded on January 4th from the same place we are now, the beautiful upstate of South Carolina.
We're never down.
Bitcoin was in the 40s. And we're sitting at 65. And once the guys get on, we're definitely going to talk some current events tonight.
Did anything happen?
Well,
What's been going on?
No, yeah, right. No, but to wrap up the Bitcoin piece, I thought about it. Here we go. 65, 437.
Boom.
So, usually I sit there at my desk and I work for a large portion of the day. I never have to Google what's the price of Bitcoin anymore. I just look over at the clock. But I don't know if you know this, but X has had all my attention for about 3 days.
I don't know why, dude.
And I've just been totally into selling 45-pound plates and seeing what's going on in the news. And I just realized I have no idea what the price of Bitcoin was. And I think I looked over and I could be wrong, but it's like 52 and some change.
Yeah.
And because my initial thought was like, whoa, maybe Bitcoin is like pumping.
Yeah.
Because this happened.
Right.
But anyway, now it's pumped up and it's back. But I didn't realize that till maybe 30 minutes ago. And I looked over and I saw it. But
yeah. Down is just a state of mind, I think.
Yeah. We're good. So back in the 65s, the weather not in the 65s.
It's a little bit north of that.
I don't know how you're wearing a flannel. And I love Poncho Outdoors, potential sponsor, big fly fishing company.
This is my problem in Miami. So
Okay.
you walk outside and it's scorching hot outside, right? Then you go inside and everyone blasts AC.
It is true. I run hot. It's 68 degrees in here right now.
Exactly. So I knew, hey, it's going to be chilly. Do I either suffer during the podcast or in my walkover? And I chose the walkover.
Okay. Jocko would have just told you to suffer all the time.
He would have had me put the flannel on to walk over and then take it off when I get here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just maximum suffering.
Maximum suffering.
Stay hard.
Stay hard. But yeah. Anyway, it's really hot here. It's in the 90s. Being in California last week was funny because they had a heat wave and I think it was like low 90s, but there was no humidity. And I hate, I've hated being in California for 10, 12 years as an adult. And, what does dad say when dad calls you? First, he asks you if you went to church. Then he asks you, how's the weather? And I'd be like, man, I've been doing 29 Palms. Dad, it's like my skin is melting. It's 118 degrees. And he would just say, yeah, but it's a dry heat.
Yeah, but it's a dry
And I always hated that. Like, well, yeah, technically it's a dry heat, but it's still really hot. And then having been, South Carolina ramped up 2 weeks ago, started hitting 90 in the humidity. And then went to California and they were like, heat wave, 88 degrees. And I was like, but it's a dry heat.
That's
it's a dry heat.
That's like saying like, yeah, I pulled a 650 pound deadlift. You're like, but it was sumo, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to say, but it was RPE 6.
But no. I mean like, it's like, okay, it was sumo, but like, dude, it's 650.
Yeah, if it's 650, but yeah, it's been hot here. We are headed to Aberdeen, South Dakota for the Lift Hard, Live Easy 2. By the time you listen to this, I'll be standing in front of Mount Rushmore Friday morning.
Do you mean the real one or the more famous one, the billboard?
The real one.
Okay.
And yeah, I probably won't get to the billboard till Friday afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah. So in South Dakota, just because you're in the state doesn't mean you're a quick skip, jump, and a hop from the next place over. It's actually still pretty spread out. But Diane and I will be meeting Connor in Rapid City Thursday morning. Check out Mount Rushmore. Check out Deadwood. Did you ever watch the show Deadwood?
No.
I didn't either. I know that it's for you starting strength Ripito heads. It's a big Ripito favorite, but I've actually never seen it. I've seen like clips of it, but I guess the town is like set up and it's Western and stuff. So we're gonna check that out.
All right, man. You gonna be lifting hard? Or you gonna be living easy?
I'm doing that bench comp, but we'll probably talk about that with the boys. Speaking of which. All right. Texas is in the SEC, so a little Matthew McConaughey intro to episode 029 of the
Okay.
Guidons.
Okay.
Podcast powered by Strength Co. I'm your host, Grant Broggi, here in studio with PJ. We got Major Jeff Biggie joining us from, we'll just call it the greater Salt Lake area. Everyone render a salute, just like Lee Greenwood last night, which we may touch on. And then we have Mr. Trey, once a Marine, always a Marine, best logistician I ever knew, Gottlich, coming to us from Oklahoma City tonight, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and I don't want to steal Jeff's slide deck, but sometimes before you get to that agenda slide, you just bluff everybody, bottom line up front. And if there's one thing I know, it's about 90 minutes ago, I got a photo of a squat rack and a man ready to submit to the barbell. Ooh. Are you back to lifting?
It was ugly. It was ugly, but I did it.
Ugly in what way?
I forgot how.
Okay.
Everything I learned. I went in there. There was these weird circles, heavy. Didn't know what they were. Chinese made.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was good. It felt good to get back on it. I'm definitely out of shape. I've been deloading for the past 2 months.
Smart.
So
Smart.
Big deload.
Big deload guy. Yeah. Get back into it.
So you went back to the gym first day, and you called me yesterday, and you asked me a couple of questions, and I want to talk about some of the stuff.
Yeah, man, I think that would actually be a good topic to kind of get back into. So I was
So reintroducing a previous segment known to the podcast for maybe the first 16 weeks.
Yeah. I would say.
And it was called Amateur Lifting Update, brought to you by Trey Gottlich. And so this segment is now back. Go ahead.
It's good to be back. If you got questions about taxes, call BW. If you got a question about lifting, call Grant.
That's right.
So I was talking with Jeff, I think the end of last week, kind of post show, and we were trying to figure out, I'm like, Jeff, I got like 30, 45 minutes probably a day, like a good window where I could kind of get some lifting in, right? With twins, work, everything we got going on. I'm like, I probably get 35 minutes. I'm like, what makes the most sense to kind of do, right? I'm like, I can't, like, we talked about, you can't get a full 2-hour lift in. So like, what's the most efficient way to spend my time in there? And I was telling, I think we talked about like hit a major lift and then maybe do like a HIIT exercise or some sort, high intensity, right? And I called you yesterday. We were talking about it. And you said kind of keep the HIIT or the cardio down a little bit. If I'm wrong, jump in here. But keep the cardio down a little bit, and then like do it on the days where you do upper body, and then so have your major lifts 4 days a week, and then do like 5 sets of 5 on squat. When you're doing your bench, throw in like a 10 to 20 minute cardio, and then deadlift, overhead press, 10 minute cardio. So that's kind of, I started doing that today. I started doing I did squats today, did 5 sets of 5. Nice. Start off light, 275 for 5 sets of 5, so and then kind of, I guess, trying to see how it feels like and go from there.
You're gonna be so sore, by the way.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have done 5x5 day one. But anyway, no, I thought that
you lied to me.
You're fine.
Day one in the future. No, and I think Jeff will mostly agree with this. I was just saying, hey, on days that you squat, it is hard to get a good heavy squat workout in less than 40 minutes. Like, because you go in there, you got to get your shoulders loosened up. You got to get your hips loosened up, your knees. You could do that through my methods of just like squatting the empty bar for like 3-4 sets of 5. You could do it if you're like you could do it if you're a hip circle person, if you're a mobility person, but it's just like, there's a lot more to getting into squatting. So I was just saying if you only have 30 to 40 minutes a day, which I think is fine, on the days that you squat and deadlift, you're probably only squatting and deadlift. But the inverse of that is when you go in and you're just going to press 4 sets of 5, you're probably done 20 minutes. So then you have the ability to do some conditioning, or some arms, or some chin ups, or some lat pull downs, or some, barbell, something else that's like,
get the heart going.
Yeah, upper body related. Yeah. I just don't like when people are coming back from the gym or from out of the gym and they enter with everyday cardio, because I just think they get exhausted. They get weirdly sore, like you're going to be from doing 5x5 day one, right? I probably would have had you do 3x5 today if I was like there with you in person, and then next week made that a 5x5. But you're going to be fine. But it's just, so you do 5x5 squats a day. Tomorrow,
quick question.
Yeah.
Do you play quarterback? Are you in an armchair right now?
Yeah, I'm in an armchair. Yeah, I'm actually. This is actually an Equipal. It's a Mexican armchair. But yeah.
Why not? I'm sorry. Continue. You
just ruined this YouTube clip. I don't know how we'll ever recover. Yeah,
you said it. I'm so
hold all jokes until the end, Mr. Armchair. Yeah, it's ruined.
Cardio 3x5. Yeah. Cardio every day.
No, I was just saying, if you're coming back from not being in the gym, that all of these things that later aren't like very much soreness inducing for like your first week are super soreness inducing. And so if you add in a bunch of cardio, depending on what that is, maybe it's box jumps, maybe it's side straddle hops, whatever it is, like then you just feel like wrecked, and then you're less likely to keep going. So I'm just, hey, like start 1 lift a day, 4 days a week. The next week, maybe add in some ancillary exercises on your upper body days. The next week, start to add in some HIIT stuff, and just not go like too aggressive. And I would say, if you're, and hey, I'll live through this in October, and I'll call my own bluff if I need to. But I would say that like your most important thing is that you say, hey, my workout, and I don't know what the number is. Maybe it's 30, maybe it's 35, maybe it's 40, but whatever it is. And like every 5 minutes probably matters with your current schedule to be like, I have 30 minutes. And then you're just trying to maximize, the most that you can do with that and then not go over and, run into other issues. But anyway, yeah.
No, I think I don't know, like, and this might be a better question for Jeff. You could answer it too, but like when you, let's say upper body exercise, like if you want to do HIIT, are you doing like a cardio HIIT thing that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? That kind of goes with like what you're doing that day, or like, so if I'm doing chest, like what would be a good cardio to follow that up with? You know what I mean?
For me, like, I guess it kind of depends if you're like pressing and benching in like the same week. So like you don't want to then do something that's going to like be a lot of like, all right, I just did press. Now I'm going to do a bunch of like, maybe like rounds of like push press and burpees or something like that. Cause then you're just like smashing like all your kind of like pressing muscles, your triceps and your shoulders. So you then are maybe going to affect follow on days. If you're doing bench, 3 days, 4 days from then, I mean, for me, I think like to try not to interfere too much. I think just machines are great for that sort of stuff. If you got one of those fan bikes, those are pretty phenomenal.
Row machine.
Row machines are great because again, like you're not going to beat yourself up too much from those. Like you'll get the good like cardio stimulus, but you're not going to get kind of like the potential over like just smashing that one muscle group. If you're like, okay, I want to save my legs for squats or deadlifts the next day, so I'm just going to go super hard on the arms, you may find that like, okay, that's too much volume for that. And then so I think machines are super great because you're not really going to get sore from them. You can do intervals, you can do longer, kind of more like endurance-y type stuff. So yeah, rowers, fan bikes, those ski ergs, that sort of stuff's great.
I just think it really, I agree with Jeff on most of that. I just think it depends for the condition. So if you have 35 minutes and you're going to the gym and you're doing an overhead press for, 3 sets of 5, and that's like your strength work, then when you get to your conditioning work, what is the goal? Is the goal an elevated heart rate for a sustained amount of time? If like that is the only goal, I'm picking things that elevate my heart rate, but as Jeff said, aren't going to make me super sore or affect my other strength things later. So an assault bike's great. A rower early on will actually make you kind of sore, but if you do it like, hey, twice a week, I'm going to do this rower at these intervals, you'll actually adapt to that range of motion and you'll be fine. Sprints, are fine. Kettlebells early on are going to make your low back and hamstrings real sore, but if you do them regularly, you'll probably be fine. And if you do them heavy enough, then you don't have to do really a ton of reps to get your heart rate up, right? If you grab an 80-pound kettlebell and you do a set of 10, your heart rate's going to be pegged, especially if you've already pressed. Whereas if you grab a 20-pounder, you might have to do 65 reps of the same range of motion to get the heart rate up. And now you're going to have a soreness issue. So I would just always like kind of manage that. And, I'm always going to be biased towards, I think strength is the best bang for your buck personally. I also think you need a base of conditioning. Like you need it. But like for you, if we're just frank, right, we're 8-10 weeks of coming out of really doing nothing except like surviving 2 new babies and like, still running your job and stuff. So to me, I'd be like, hey, get back to the gym and get your lifting base up. Okay, you've been doing pretty good at that. Now let's add it. That's how I would approach it, but I'm always biased to the strength side.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I guess 2 more questions with that would be, one is as far as like week over week, are you just gradually going up, still the same? Like, is it the same thing?
For the strength lifts?
Yeah, because the program is like a major, you do 4 times a week, doing a major lift every day. Like, what does that look like as far as?
Yeah, I think you try to linear progress it, especially because you've been out of it for a little while. You're going to be able to add 5 pounds every week and just be fine. I also think the difference between you, just like our friend BW, who's actually back in the gym, just like you, kind of same schedule, 1 lift a day, is you guys are just like strong. Like he went back, he's like, yeah, so I went back and I did what you said, top set of 5 deadlifts and then back off. I did my top set at 335 and then went down to 300. And it's like, man, I've coached so many people that would like give their left whatever to deadlift 335.
Yeah.
And like this is what you're doing after 4 months out of the gym. But I do think that's a difference, because if you're actually strong and your strength is like 1 came from God, 2 George Strait, 3 from Sam Houston, and 4 from your time in the Marine Corps. No, but like you can go in and do 2 sets of 5 on deadlift, and because you're strong, it's a significant event. If I had the same like new dad coming to me, told me he had 30 minutes and he's completely untrained, I'm probably telling him to do 2 lifts a day, because he's so detrained. Like, how long does it take to warm up to 90 pounds on a squat? Not very long, right? And then he knocks out 3 sets of 5 and he's done in 18, 19 minutes. It's like you might get through a whole workout. And then as, 2 or 3 lifts started to cross whatever his timing threshold is, okay, now we start chopping lifts. But yes, in general, I think, hey, I'm squatting once a week. That's actually super easy. Every time I go in, what was my reps and sets last week? 5 by 5. I bet you'll get 10 weeks of life out of that just by adding 5. You might get more life out of it. And then later you might have to say like, hey, now I've run this up from whatever you did today, 275 to 340. What should I do now? And it's like, well, did your time change? Like, do you have the same amount of time available?
Yeah.
And then you could say, hey, well, why don't we go in and hit 2 top triples or doubles at like a significantly heavier weight, and then come down, then you can play with it later. But I think at first it's all just like getting back in and getting consistent.
And you brought up an interesting point, not to beat this topic to death, but you brought an interesting point yesterday as far as keeping the cardio at a reasonable level. 1, because you don't want to get burnt out. But then 2, you said just get hungry. Like I put on some pounds just eating church. People bring over church dishes from the girls, you know what I mean? Just, what was it, lasagna or whatever it might be. So just crushing carbs and taking care of babies, what I've been doing the last 2 months. But
you put on some weight.
Yeah. So you're trying to get back down. So trying to keep that back down. So you said, in my mind, I think, hey, get the cardio up, and just because like get the heart rate up, try to lose some weight. But it's almost counterintuitive to kind of what you were saying, as far as like put the strength in, and then yes, get your cardio in, but not as much as you think, because it's going to make you hungrier, and you're going to, I don't know, kind of.
Yeah, no, exactly. 1, if you're a young man and you want to gain on a lot of weight, stop going on YouTube and watching Strength Co videos, and just go to church and go to lunch with the old people after church and eat Trey's lasagna and casserole. That's the ultimate anabolic diet.
What a ministry right there.
Get a couple babies.
Step 1,
join a church. Join the prayer team.
Step 2, get a couple babies. Step 3, crush carbs.
Honestly, that is probably the best way to put on some mass. Right?
I mean,
it's not even hard.
You're so fatigued. How can you not eat an entire tray of sweet potato casserole? Like, look at it. No, I was just saying, I think that when you're trying to get back in the gym and weight loss is a goal, like, yes, you do need to do some conditioning, but people, they're like, all right, I'm going to go do 55 minutes on the Stairmaster. And it's like, well, they didn't like, they burn calories, of course, but not like an astronomical amount. They didn't get really stronger, or you wouldn't necessarily get stronger from the Stairmaster. A guy that's untrained will get stronger from the Stairmaster because he's like weak as it can be. But like you who have a base of strength are not going to get stronger for it. So you didn't check that box. And what'd you do? You got like super hot and super sweaty and drained all your electrolytes. And now you're just like hungry. Yeah. And Aunt Joan left another casserole in the fridge. And I just think that sometimes it's like people are trying to, out cardio a bad diet. And when they add in the cardio, more of it, they just get hungrier. And so, I mean, obviously nutrition plays a big role in this, but I just think get back in the gym, get your strength stuff down, and then you can get a lot of heart work in like 6 to 8 minutes. Yeah. Jeff taught me that. Like, you don't have to do a 40-minute WOD. Like, do the 50 cal challenge in an assault bike. That's like 3.5 minutes of absolute living hell.
The worst.
Of like just heart, like, like you don't need a bunch of time doing that. But anyway.
All right. Good talk.
Love it.
I'll keep my jokes to the end next time.
Oh goodness. Oh, that reminded me of, there's a good some other podcast I was listening to. They were talking about working out, and like there's a guy that's in the Army, and he's always like, who's talking to a group of soldiers, and he's like, okay, well, what makes a good workout? Someone tops it. You gotta be really sweaty at the end. And then someone else is like, well, if you're like super tired, And it's like, oh, if you're sore and you're hurting, like the next day, like these are all like the things that constitute a good workout. And he's like, huh, okay. Well, meet me in a sauna at 3 a.m. in the morning and I'll punch you in the face. Like, is that a good workout? Like, you're going to be sore. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sweaty. It's like, no, that's not what makes a good workout. Like, you got to train.
Yeah.
Training continues. All right. So I'd say like it's been a pretty slow week in America.
Yeah. I mean,
Slow news week.
honestly, we're going to talk about the biggest story, obviously, of the week. And that's
I know where you're going with this.
rest
do
in
too.
peace,
Richard.
Simmons.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Whoa.
this is a health and
Biggest
fitness
story
podcast.
of the week.
He's a legend.
Yeah. Got overshadowed by some other stuff.
Other stuff, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we won't, you know.
You got a little recap on Richard Simmons' life?
I mean, you know, sweating to the oldies, big cardio. He's big cardio guy, or was
Big
cardio
cardio
guy. Not really much into the
too
weights.
soon?
Really into headbands, unitards, that
I
sort of
thought
stuff.
you were going to say heaven for a second.
Oh.
Hopefully. Yeah, like, God knows his heart. We hope he's not sweating it out down below.
But
You know, he got a lot of people working out.
a lot of people, right? Just get them moving.
You gotta
Get 'em
give him
doing
that.
something that's like different, something that's
Got him
fun.
doing something.
They're like,
Was
oh,
he the Fig Newton guy?
was that?
Did he like promote the Fig Newton cookies? Was that Richard
I don't know.
Simmons?
What?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think this is
he?
right. I'm gonna have to
That's
fact
a
check
deep
myself.
Richard Simmons take right there.
Interesting.
Yeah, big.
I don't think he's known for Fig Newtons. That's not like his thing.
It may have been. I don't know.
someone
Maybe
was.
like his early days. He was on the Fig Newton bandwagon.
That's how he got his start.
I mean, I think they were originally like kind of like sold as like a, oh, this is like the healthy cookie. Like, you know, it's got figs in it.
Oh, they definitely were healthy.
Yeah, maybe he was just on the pack or something. Yeah, I don't know. That could be wrong. But
well, you
anyway,
hear it here
yeah,
first,
Richard
folks.
yeah,
Big Fig Newton.
Richard Simmons.
Maybe they were.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
they took
Richard
him
Simmons
out.
was the Fig Newton guy.
Not to be confused with Newton Gingrich.
Oh, Newt.
Wasn't he? How did he die? Was he assassinated?
Yes.
Jeez.
Man, headed right for it. Gosh, PJ.
Newt.
No, he just died, right?
Oh, he just died.
He just, yeah.
Yeah, Gingrich.
I'm going back to that Newton Gingrich guy. That's pretty good. Speaker
like-
of the cookie. Yeah.
No, it's Newton Figrich.
Speaker of the cookie. Yeah.
76, died, mixed laughs and sweat. Fitness guru, probably the OG fitness guru.
Yeah, up there.
He's up there.
He's up there at least.
I mean, he's behind Jane Fonda, in my opinion.
Preach.
Probably.
Yeah. My mom had both those tapes growing up.
Okay.
Richard Simmons and Jane Fonda,
Wow.
and would like dance around the living room with like weighted things on her wrists and stuff.
What's her name? Jillian Michaels? Jillian Michael?
Oh, yeah, from like
that?
Biggest
Yeah.
Loser.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's another one.
She's modern day
Modern
guru.
day.
She's
Guru.
modern day. Yeah.
Modern day is like 2000.
Yeah. Yeah, to us.
Yeah, it's basically modern.
She's what else?
What else we need to cover?
Other things.
I got a story.
Yes, love it.
Phyllis Morris International said Tuesday it is planning to invest $600 million to open a manufacturing plant in Colorado to keep up with steep demand for Zen nicotine pouches.
Oh, I thought he said Phyllis, and he was going to be talking about his aunt, but he's talking about Philip Morris.
Philip Morris.
Yeah, it sounded like he said Phyllis.
That's what I thought
Yeah.
Phyllis
I may, have
Morris.
said, I may have said that.
I was
sister
thrown for a
company.
loop. I was like, Phyllis.
Sister,
This
literally
story
sister
took a
company.
turn.
Yeah. They can't make him fast
Damn.
enough.
They can't.
It's that song of the summer.
Sister.
Typing them up.
It's that
Those
song in the
zines.
summer. Pop another zine and take it slow.
Song of the summer.
They're not taking it slow. They're taking it fast.
Dang.
Have you guys noticed a downtick in seeing cigarette smokers where you live? Serious question.
Big time.
Or seeing dippers in the United States Marine Corps.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think the last time
Yeah.
I saw just a person around, like out in like smoking in public.
We live near a pizza restaurant, and the pizza restaurant backs up to the alley that we access our place through. And I've been like kind of paying attention to this. Two of them vape, or I don't know if the whole staff, but from that establishment, there's definitely two people that vape and then one that smokes. But then I realized like I'm not seeing as many people smoking, you know, in and around town as I feel like I used to. And I wonder if that's the Phyllis Morris effect.
Yeah, I think that's just all the smokers dying, and then they're not. And now they're, you know, and then there's all these other, everyone's vaping. I don't know.
Everybody's vaping or zinning.
Or zinning.
There's definitely a downtick in Coca-Cola bottles going around DOD facilities getting spit into nonstop. There's
100%.
Definitely a large downtick in that.
That's a shame.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's
Actually
on Zyn.
funny.
Everyone's doing it.
Funny, I probably shouldn't say it since I'm still in 14th Marine Regiment, but we got a new colonel. And I was asking some folks up there, like, hey, so like, well, how's the new colonel? And they're like, oh, he's strict. I'm like, oh yeah, like what? He's like, he says you can't like just brief with a dip in, and he doesn't want to see any dip bottles. I was like, and this affected your life?
What?
Like, how did this affect your life?
This is groundbreaking. This is unheard of.
Was the colonel before dipping while he was talking?
No comment.
Yeah.
No comment.
I could. Well, it's just like it's one extreme or the other. Usually, I've seen on both hands.
Yeah.
Wait, is it not usually made in the USA?
What?
Well, you said it's in Colorado now.
It's Sweden. Right?
It's a Swedish product. I'm
Well,
pretty
because
sure.
it's like a byproduct of snus, right?
Yes,
So is this Colorado plant like the first one in the States or something?
it must be.
Oh,
Where
okay.
is it? What's like? Okay, so
Bringing jobs to America.
what's the top 3 ways to get nicotine? Like top coolest ways, because I feel like vaping is not the coolest way. For
cigarettes.
example,
I think it's
Cool.
the least cool.
it's low.
Cigarettes.
Totally
Yeah.
cool.
Cigarettes got to be the coolest,
Oh,
right?
by far.
Yeah.
You ever seen Mad Men?
Yeah, of course.
I can't watch that
Yeah.
show.
I know.
Like,
three
how
three
cool they
packs
look in the
later, and I'm on
office in
episode
suits
2.
just smoking all day.
That was a great season.
Pull it out of the suit jacket. Oh, dude. Classy.
Well, cool gold cases. One pops out.
It's too cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
top 3? Cigar.
I think
Is that the
cigars
same?
up there.
Yeah.
It's got to be
that's
up there.
Yeah.
And I feel like
might be
Zen is
coolest.
cooler than it might be.
Cigar's
Might be
coolest.
coolest.
See,
Because like if you win something, you
Smoke
smoke a cigar.
Yeah. Cigar
And
might
like you could be on both ends of the socio and economic spectrum ripping cigs.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
and I would say third. Zen is definitely not top 3.
I
of
tend
this-
to agree.
of this
I-
crazy list. I would say third is my granddad smoked a pipe.
Pipe.
Ooh,
Yes. And you
he
empty
had-
it, and you empty
he
it
had
in
it
your
like-
baked potato when you're done.
And he would have it like right. He would keep it right here. And the thing with pipe is like pipe smells
good.
really good.
Smells
Really good.
Dude,
Yeah.
I never smoked a pipe. Have you guys done that?
a couple times.
Pipes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pipes are cool.
Dude, pipes are
Yeah.
cool.
Pipes are
I mean,
cool. Yeah,
are
I don't
pipes the
think
coolest?
Zen's
Maybe
pipes might be the
versus
coolest.
cigar.
I mean, Sherlock Holmes.
Pipes is the
They might be the
classiest.
coolest, dude.
Yeah,
Classics.
there you
Yeah,
go.
I
It
give you
is.
that.
It kind of feels English though,
Yeah. A little bit.
and we're still in July, so you know, you're gonna have to hand me a pack of Pall Malls.
Yeah, dude.
You're going to have to send me
God bless
some loose leaf
America.
tobacco and rolling papers.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, well, that's good enough for you to put a Zen can on the thumbnail, right?
It's got
I
to
assume
be.
that's what you were after.
Potential sponsor.
Potential sponsor zines.
Dude, I just
If they-
forgot about pipes. man.
If they sponsor us, then they'll go to the #1 spot of Jordy's list.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, they'll go to all our #1 spots
Yeah,
if they sponsor
definitely.
us.
Our
Oh, yeah.
allegiance is very cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like Grant Strength Co. needs
expensive.
to manufacture nicotine pouches. So
Yeah.
you need to get on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, Grant, I just found something I like. Can you make it?
You should partner with Phyllis Morris.
And then like give it to me
Yeah,
for free.
Phyllis. Yeah, everyone loves that. Actually, speaking of that, quick plug. We plugged the jeans earlier in the year. The jean guy, he means well. He says he's going to come on the pod. There's no update on the jeans except that he still says it's going to happen. And that is kind of like his business. He's like, oh, we're going to do it. It just takes a long time, so that will happen. But speaking of other random things that we're making that are actually coming to fruition, I have the first ever Strength Co. cast iron pan, baked and pre-seasoned professionally at an industrial level headed to my house.
Dude.
So the cast iron pan,
Whoa.
I'm hoping to launch those this fall.
It weighs 45 pounds.
No, what?
Oh.
Everyone's just obsessed with 45 right now.
It weighs
Give the
100,
guy a
Trey.
break. Yeah, it's 100 pounds.
Yeah, man.
I think it's just under 8.
Nice, dude.
It's gonna be product of the year. I mean, gear.
Ooh.
Yeah. Year.
I said year. Yeah.
PJ over there on the gear. I think it's a 12-inch, but yeah, anyway, that's happening. Anyway, next slide.
Should we talk about the second biggest news story of the week?
Oh, you got, I feel like you got to.
Can you?
Oh, great.
I heard that one.
Drunk?
Yeah. Yes. That was amazing.
Dude.
What was her name?
don't know.
Ingrid
Something.
Dude, the best part about that was
Is she famous?
she must be.
Maybe a little bit.
Allegedly.
In Nashville, maybe?
Just a little bit.
The best part to me was like she got to the bridge section and it was like, and the rock is regular. And it was probably the worst part of it. And then the fireworks start going off. I was like, this feels like a troll.
Yeah, they were like,
Best part to me.
do we do it?
do we have to do it? They're like, we
I
got
think we have
to.
to just send it.
So this was the Home Run Derby national anthem.
Home Run Derby, national anthem going on same time as the RNC.
Deep in the
And
heart.
the reason that's funny is it's because my nephew was with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, you having a good time over there? He's like, yeah, it's good. They pretty much just watch the TV looking for Trump updates. And I was like, so you're not watching the Home Run Derby? He's like, no, we're watching the RNC. I was like, yeah, I knew that. That was a joke. And he's like, oh, right. And but so I turned on the RNC because like my family thread was talking about stuff. I turned on the Home Run Derby. I like took a picture and sent it. And the best part was it was after the national anthem. Was when you watch the national anthem, it goes to like the white guys. And they're like trying not to laugh. Dude. They're like standing on those stars, like holding their bats. And then it goes to like the Dominicans and like people from other countries. And they have this like quizzical look on their eyes where it's like, I don't know if these guys speak English or not, but they're like, this is not correct. And I don't know what to do with my baseball bat right now. And my hand's over my heart. And I'm just going to stand here. And yeah, that was terrible.
Dude. My favorite is that she comes out today. And like, you know what? God bless her.
Wait, actually, before she tells us about her coming out, tell me about her getting roasted because I didn't see a lot.
I didn't
of that.
either.
I mean, I saw some of it.
So ESPN posted the video, right? And I think it was up for 10 minutes.
And they posted it like
not
like
long.
Sincerely. Like it wasn't like hey, check out this train wreck. It was like,
oh, they knew what they were doing for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Clickbait,
then why take it down?
And then, but then I think I sent it to y'all, and I think I texted you, like, I've never seen the country so unified in dunking on this chick. Like, just everyone dunking on this chick. And it was hilarious just going up and down the comments.
Dude.
My cousin would say that she sang in the key of R flat.
Hey.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It was pretty.
You think she got a bunch of
she came out
downloads
today.
or like Spotify hits?
She came out to.
She said she was drunk, right?
Yeah, she came out today and she apologized. And she said, sorry, I was drunk. And I'm going to get help. You know, God bless her.
God bless America.
It's basically what she said. You know, hope she gets better. But hey, sorry, I was drunk. Yeah.
Well,
to me, I
so
wouldn't
if
think
you
it was
look
funny
at
if she
her,
just would have stopped it
She
there.
like looks like
Yeah.
she's like kind of like hunched over, like doesn't look like usually they're all
She's
like
not all
done
there.
up and like, you know, they're kind of like getting into it, but she was just like emotionless, this like kind of hair in her face, like singing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe
She wakes up, she's like, oh, that was today?
Yeah.
So it's in
Go ahead.
it's held in Texas Ranger Stadium is the All-Star game, and the Cody Johnson, the country music singer, was singing today.
okay.
And like the Rangers fan account was like, hey, we know the bar was set super low, but Cody Johnson killed it today.
They should have just called Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
Legend.
Got the job done.
Or just played that video and just been like, all right, we apologize for this. Here's just a video from Chris Stapleton doing it.
Here we go. We found this on his Instagram. We're just going to play this.
Well, so I thought it was interesting. I actually wonder if it's worse than her being drunk because I'm no expert in contracts for people getting hired to sing for nationally broadcasted things. But I assume there are things in the contract like you will not be drunk, like you will not be whatever. And I was like, I wonder what her agent / handler, like whatever was going on. They were like, yeah, best thing you can do is just say you were drunk and go into rehab. I mean, no, but like, cause there's a business side to that, right? Like
true.
there's contracts that were signed and they're like, yeah, just tell them you were
Tell me
hammered.
you're drunk. We'll send you to like one of these resort rehab things for a couple months. You'll just chill out by the pool in Arizona.
She said, I heard they're fun.
Yeah.
That was the last part of the tweet. I heard they're fun.
Maybe. I don't know.
yeah, I hear it's super fun.
See how the trimmers go for you.
But yeah, I don't know.
Hope she gets better.
That's it. Like kind of going back to the whole agent thing. Like Kaylee and I kind of were like, well, what does her actual music sound like? So we like sampled a couple songs and listened to it, and it's like pretty heavily produced, like auto tune. And you're like, I don't know if I was her, like they kind of set you up for failure. Even if you're not drunk, I don't think she would have hit those notes all that great. Like she was like that.
Yeah.
Was not like, she's not like a national anthem singer, and like Chris Stapleton crushing the notes, or like Lady Gaga.
I mean, come on, he's not your
he's not your
like. Those aren't your everyday national anthem.
There was times
either though.
when she was
Houston or
true.
You know,
when she was singing, if she was like in her range, like she sounded okay.
It started
like
okay.
Okay. She said, but it was when she started to like get fancy with it. She would go either too high, and I'm like, this is your sweet spot. Stay right there.
I've worked with and played with like a bunch of different singers, so I've like heard them talk about like gigs afterwards, right? Do like what do you guys call it? Like what's like after the mission?
Well, the debrief.
An AAR.
Debrief.
Or an AAR.
AAR. They do
after
the
action
AAR,
review.
right?
Debrief, yeah.
And so like I understand like how this song, national anthem is pretty tough to sing. Like it's a pretty big range, right? And I was just listening to her, and I just knew in my head she totally just bailed on all of the big notes. She's like, "Land of the free," like she's like, just like, we're gonna bring it right back down. Like we're not staying up there. But like every hard part of that song, she just completely jumped ship.
Tanked.
You know what? She knew we needed that as Americans.
We did. We did.
We needed that.
Daggum.
So I think, do I know what the next slide is, Jeff?
I don't know. What do you think the next slide is?
Well, I think we need to approach it from a little different angle.
Okay.
Right? And I first want to play a little pop quiz
From
game.
the right on the roof.
Oh, God. I'm really not here to bash. Actually, we'll just start with that question. Jeff and Trey, this week, how many people have said to you, as a military guy, what do you think about the Secret Service handling? Have you gotten that question, Jeff?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, like numerous times, right? Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my Secret Service training.
Yeah. Yeah. All my Secret Service training. No, but I was going to say actually a more fun and maybe educational way to approach this topic is how many assassinations or assassination attempts can you think of? We can go around the room. And then 2, all of our parents should have been alive from the one that everyone should know, Kennedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of the difference of, I've heard my dad tell his Kennedy story, like, I don't know, at least 4,000 times. And then now you're kind of living, through the same type of thing. So kind of the difference to that. And like we all lived through 9/11. So like, I feel like, it's I don't know if you want to call it greater significance, equal significance, whatever, terrible, but a thing where it's like, yep, I know where I was.
Yeah.
But so I'll give away 2 for free. I looked up like 9. I think it's actually like every 15 they get assassinated or attempted on. But so obviously we know Lincoln and Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan.
Okay. Reagan. Yep. That's there. So Reagan would have been our lifetime, or yeah.
I missed it.
You missed it. Okay.
Cheney tried to assassinate somebody on that.
That's different. That's the vice president.
It's not
That's
different.
It was a reverse assassination.
That's a different game.
Assassination.
That's episode 030.
Yeah. Sorry, I was drunk. I'm going to rehab.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many can we think of, like outside of that?
Well, I guess just
like,
major ones, and then I was just going to talk
historical,
about
like
like
ones
Are you talking about-
we're alive for?
just historic. If anything
Is this
comes to
any
mind.
politician?
I was going to say presidents.
Okay, presidents.
I hadn't
presidents.
seen one.
Yeah. Meaning
It's
you hadn't
the
seen
only,
one
like,
attempted or
other
happened, right?
assassination.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
although
correct.
Bush did technically when he was with the the Georgians threw like a
shoe.
no, that was a different one.
Oh.
They threw a grenade, and it was like in the vicinity. I mean, it was definitely an attempt,
Yeah.
but it wasn't
Like,
near
whoa,
as
that
big.
was
But
close.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Bush technically did.
Oh, okay.
So then you have Reagan.
Did you put
which
RFK
we
in
all
there?
remember. Didn't, but yeah, that's a good one. Running for president, right?
Mhm.
And then you have JFK, and then you had Garfield. The only other one, so the only other two I knew that we haven't named were Ford
Oh yeah.
and Lincoln.
Who
But then
got
there's-
shot and kept giving the speech?
Teddy Roosevelt?
Yeah, Teddy
Yeah.
Roosevelt. Yeah,
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt, tough as nails, which kind of happened this weekend.
They were saying he's got Teddy
Yeah, that
Roosevelt
quote got
vibes.
thrown around a lot. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now who got shot, gave a speech, who gave
And
a
then
speech? No, that's because it was a cold and he got
cold.
like
He was chilly.
pneumonia. That's it.
He didn't want to wear a hat.
He didn't get shot.
his wife was
That
like,
seems
"You
like
should wear a
that's
hat," and he was like, "I'm not wearing a hat," and then he died.
I'm good.
But it was like a 4-hour speech
let's
or
see.
something like that. It was something crazy.
I can't remember who that was.
Well,
Okay,
that
here's
guy
the-
from a speech,
here-
not the bullet.
Here's the official list, oldest to most recent. Abraham Lincoln. These are assassinations.
Successful ones.
Yeah, Garfield.
Success.
Except, well, maybe those portraits ones.
Yeah, portrait swords.
Yeah.
I'm drunk. Take me to rehab.
Sorry.
McKinley,
Yeah.
JFK, and that was it.
Who shot McKinley? How did that happen?
Let's do a little education here. McKinley, September 6, 1901, Temple of Music in Buffalo, New York. This is what
Okay.
happens to people that study music. Leon Klaglas, an anarchist, who was armed with the Antichrist, who was armed with a 32 caliber Ivor Johnson safety automatic revolver,
Ban
and
those.
concealed underneath his handkerchief.
It's a big handkerchief.
Ban-
The bullet
handkerchief.
ricocheted off of the button of McKinley's jacket and then lodged in his sleeve, and the second shot pierced his stomach. So yeah, he was shot at a music
sturdy bud.
festival.
Oh.
Yeah. Didn't Jack White
Made
have
by
a song about
made by the
he was
street
trying-
cow.
he was
It's a
trying to
street
button.
cow button.
It's the hardest button to button.
The one that gets shot.
It's actually
He
what
was-
that song's about.
Yeah.
He was
That's actually-
saved.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack White, for finally clearing that up.
Now we get
He
it.
was saved by a Zin, like a metal Zin can in his breast pocket.
That's right.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Just comes
Jordy's
back
like-
around.
PJ's like, how many times can I bring this up to make sure that all of our heads are just Zin cans this week?
You guys seen Mad Men?
Yeah. Anyway, so I was at the bowling alley. I hadn't bowled in a long time. Came home. I'd coached a bunch Saturday. I was like, D, let's go bowl. It's hot. You don't look like you want to go outside. 6 months pregnant. She likes to bowl. We go to bowl. We're bowling like 10 minutes. Get the news. They turn on every TV in the bowling alley with it. And like everyone's just clinging to the TV. No one's throwing balls down towards the pins anymore.
It would be weird if someone was.
It would be
one
weird if someone
guy.
was, but I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, a lot of people hate this guy. I am in South Carolina, so like that doesn't really exist that much. But like a lot of people don't have thoughts about this, and then everyone's just like, wait. And not even the president, the former president just got shot at. And like the whole place, it was all it was. And I was just like, we have to go home. Like, I don't like the news. I don't watch the news. I hate the news. Like, I read it on X. I never turn on the TV. Talking heads watch the news. And I was like, give me all the news. I want to see all the news. I want 17 different versions of commentation onto what happened. And yes, that's what I did Saturday night. But I thought about it because my dad would always be like, tell me about JFK and where he was. And he saw it happen. And the difference was Kennedy gives that big speech in Dallas and then gets in the car. It's early TV days, like when the president's doing something, everyone watches. And so they were actually watching, you know, as he got shot, probably like, I've never talked to Jeff and Trey about it, but like watching plane 2, right? But we got tipped off by plane 1. And so now you're watching plane 2. And so this was a little bit different, right? You're watching the aftermath of it. But I just thought it was interesting because when you're a kid and you're growing up, you hear all these like, like people that believe that we landed on the moon. Come on, these people. And they're like, yeah, we all stuck around the TV and watched this moon landing happen. And, obviously experienced that at 9/11, but as a kid. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Man, for sure. It's really kind of, as far as like you said, you're not a big news guy. I'm not really either. And then and especially Abby, my wife, is definitely not a news person. Like, couldn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
And dude, she was infatuated by it. Like, we were watching it, like trying to figure out like what's going on. Like, is everybody okay? Like, what's the latest on it? And then I think I leave to like go do something. Like, I'm out of the house. I do something for work. I'm
5x5.
Yeah. And I call Abby. I go, what are you doing? She's like, watching the news. I go, what? Still?
What? Still?
Yeah.
So yeah, Abby, like people even not in that world. Like,
yeah, and it's just weird. Even forget the political side. I'm just thinking like, hey, where's the president?
Yeah.
Where's the president?
Yeah.
Like, I want to be like comforted right now. Like, where's the president? Right. And then you just start to like think of all these things. It's just interesting. Like, as Americans, when that sort of stuff, I mean, it's been weird. Even just the last 3 days, we often talk about how this is the most like polarizing things have been, but it almost feels like there's like a weird source of like, whoa, like someone just shot a president of the United States. Yeah. It's like a weird sense of, I don't know if you want to call it unity. I don't think we're there yet, but it was a significant event.
Well, so it's a shared experience across
there you
the
go.
board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It rises above your, hopefully, but it rises above your political leanings too. Like, it doesn't matter what party they are, right?
Oh, yeah. Or you even have people like, I know a lot of people that work for in the Bush administration, Trump haters, right? Hate Trump. So Republican, but hate Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, man, I watched that. And I'm just like, oh man, we got to get like, let's go America.
Yeah.
And like people that like hate like everyone but him because, he's the anti-establishment, whatever. We don't have to get into those weeds, but it's just interesting how and like all of a sudden these people are crossing over and I'm like, whoa. And then you have like a Portnoy who's, all over the map politically. Mm-hmm. And like, he just like grabs that iconic photo as like, this election's over. And I was like, I kind of think he's right.
Yeah.
Like, you have a guy with blood coming out of the side of his face that everyone hates, raising his hand, an American flag over his head,
it's done,
with women holding him. Like, it's done.
It's done. Yeah.
So.
Well, also you guys got to talk about, forget he's a president for a second. Just his human reaction to that moment was not, let me just duck and try to crawl off the stage to get to safety. The dude stood up, went back to the front of the stage to address the crowd like that. That's a wild reaction. Not many people would have done that.
That either speaks to epic heroism or epic narcissism, or maybe a combination of both.
Fine
line. I think it's a blurred line.
No, I mean, the instincts are crazy.
Yeah.
Well, because that you can't have a persona in that moment. There's no like faking that moment when you just literally got shot in the ear.
Unless it was rigged.
Oh, that was staged. It was staged.
Rehearsed 150 yards.
You see on the teleprompter, it says fight, fight, fight.
Yeah.
I do wonder how quick, like, because like all that stuff came out pretty quick, which I think is due to social media as far as people saying that kind of stuff. Like, how long did it take, like, when JFK was assassinated for people to be like, all right, this is kind of something's off about, you know what I mean?
You know what's almost more scary is watching the crowd behind. I mean, actually, Grant's hot take first 10 minutes was like, non-lethal bullet. This is some type of, like, showmanship. Not saying that, like, either side's putting it on, but, like, because I watched behind. And like, yeah, like there's the guy with the hat and he like kind of crouches down, but no one does anything. If I hear a shot, see the president hit the deck, I'm like in the prone crawling off stage. And what does the American public do? They pull out their phones.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like what is happening?
Although like apparently
a lot of people were probably shocked.
The like rifle the guy's using was like suppressed. So that always like kind of like so
suppressed.
that like then makes it a little more different to like as far as like the audio signature. So you're like kind of like, where did that come from?
Where's it
like,
coming
you're kind of
from?
like, where do I look? Where do I run? Where do I duck? So I think that
People probably didn't know what it was. Like they heard that. They're probably like, was that like, what was that?
Yeah.
Probably ask someone like, was that real? Like, is this like, what was that? There's just like this like disbelief probably that just like hits you, like some of those people. And then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I know what this is now. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was bowling.
Strange for sure, man.
Where were you?
I was working at my house, at my
Okay,
apartment.
so you're in your apartment. Where were you, Jeff?
I was just at home and like caught like one of these kind of like news Instagram pages and like something like posted and it was like, 7 minutes ago. And I was like, oh, this just happened. And like, then, just kept refreshing that page. And that's what was interesting. I thought was like how quickly like the story kind of unfolded because of social media. Vice like,
it's like instant.
yeah, like, Kennedy assassination. Yeah, it was broadcast on TV, but they like cut away from it probably immediately. And then, you're kind of just like sitting there like, what just happened? Like, is he alive? Like, what are the updates? Waiting for that like nightly news update. And then like the newspaper the next morning to kind of like tell you what's going on.
Had to tell you what happened. It's probably still didn't know much.
Yeah.
Well, it's also good and bad because something like that happens, first 20 minutes, no one knows what's happening.
No, right.
And if you can get like 100 news updates in those first 20 minutes, you don't even know what you're reading.
Yeah.
Like no one actually knows anything. I was still refreshing.
Yeah.
Reading all of them, but like,
But you don't know it's true. Yeah.
but you have no clue. Like it could have been anything.
So interesting thing with that and like social media playing a role. My friends Rob and Roz that live in London. I'm watching it and I'm texting with my dad and I'm starting, and I actually sent it to like the Marines in my battery, like my leadership, like, hey, if you're not paying attention, like this is happening. So a couple people replied there, and then I'm just kind of glued to the TV. And then I talked to my friends from London on WhatsApp, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that Trump was shot." And so like we start going back and forth, and then he's like, "Wow, there's an eyewitness account. They were watching the shooter on the roof for 30 minutes." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, refresh, Drudge Report, CNN, Fox News. I'm not seeing this anywhere. And so then he sends me the video and it's him in his house, like my friend filming his TV. And what it was the first guy to grab that redheaded guy that like was like, yep, we saw him. We've all seen it now. The first reporter that got to him was BBC and they were live broadcasting. So they're in London watching it. And before like everyone's able to then download it and tweet it and then share it, because I like was texting my dad. I was like, yeah, apparently they've been like watching the shooter on the roof for 30 minutes. He's like, how do you know this? I was like, I'm watching the guy from BBC. He's like, where? And so I had like, my friend had sent me like a 3-minute file, which I sent over. Anyway, yesterday when they were lifting with me, I was like, I watched like the first minute of that video and then I just sent it to my dad, and knowing you would like in the middle, like popped up some like inappropriate, explicit image and been like, gotcha, just kidding. And I was like, but I trusted you. He was like, your nation was in crisis. I couldn't have done it at that time.
That time. Yeah. I mean, so I'm as big a conspiracy theorist as, the average Twitter user.
You think we landed on the moon.
I don't know. Everybody gathered around the TV to watch the other TV studio. But it seems no one knows anything, right? But my just feelings is it seems like more just incompetence, like a badly planned day than some vast conspiracy. But I don't know if you guys disagree with me.
No, I think that there's definitely something. I mean, you look at that, just like the layout of the buildings and where like the podium was, and you're like, I don't have any sort of training in this, but like that building should have someone on it. Like
the average Call of Duty player would have been like,
I think there's also
how about
like
there?
The like, there's kind of the Secret Service probably working with other government like agencies, working with local police force. And there's like not a lot of like interoperability between those two. So there's like kind of these like siloed information, flows. They're not on like same radio frequencies. So even if like they did tell the police about them, the police can't then hop on the radio and talk to Secret Service or like give them a phone call. So I think there's just like not enough like crosstalk and interoperability. I mean, we run into this even with the military, like trying to talk to the Army's
All the
radios,
time.
like, oh, can't do it because we've got Marine Corps radios. And it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, not to cut Trey off before he answers, but I mean, when everyone's asked me about that, I said, one, you're overestimating, like before the right wing conspiracy theorists say like, this is because women are in the Secret Service and this is because this and this is because that. I'm like, hey, first of all, you are overestimating the ability of a bureaucratic system to effectively accomplish a mission. And I'm in a bureaucratic system that is supposed to do it, but you are like, I've been in it for a while. You are overestimating our ability. Second, if you've never read the Camp Bastion report from when 13 terrorists went up and blew up 9 Harriers with grenades and killed Marines, what was the issue? The exact thing Jeff's saying. Well, we have the Georgian National Guard over here, and then this part intersects with RCT-7, and this part intersects with this thing, and it's like all these inner units, and they're all like operating independently. And that's why when I watch that thing, they're like, we were telling the cops. I'm like, of course you were telling the cops. But like, did the cops get the information to the Secret Service, who then had the counter sniper? Like there's like that. And that is really hard to do. I mean, when I worked in as an advance rep for campaign rallies in 2008, I remember going in and setting up this event in Loveland, Ohio, and Kid Rock was coming and all this stuff. And like, you take like this random town and all of a sudden it's just like flooded with people. And the guys I was going with, like, hey, how do we take a photo of the candidate to make sure like it looks like there's people here, right? Like that was like my job, like to think of like the backdrop and how things looked. But they were thinking from a security standpoint. And that's all I thought of when I watched the story is I'm like, that's actually really hard to do. Like no one's been to this area at the same time. Like that building is so close.
Dude.
And it seems like
It's like what we zero. That's what you zero your rifle on, right?
I know.
That's how close it was.
It was 150 yards. That's what they're saying.
yeah.
About 150.
I mean, that's
Yeah. I mean, you guys know a lot more about this than me, but so I was just wondering, like, it's probably hard because it sounds like the main issue, maybe not the main, but a big issue was, hey, maybe that roof shouldn't have been accessible in the first place, or maybe should have been some sort of barrier. But now that it's not, and now we're in the situation, and now you see a random person, looks like a person on this roof over here. How do you, now in that moment, you're talking to all these different people. How do you know that's not like a kid that like wants to see Trump and just like climbed a ladder that he found and like pops his head over? Like, am I about to shoot an innocent kid, or is this a assassin?
think of the counter sniper, right? Like, I mean, shooting HIMARS during ROE 14.1 under Obama, hostile act, hostile intent. What do you want to be? The last guy that thinks he's looking at a mortar tube and blows up a family that has huge political, repercussions. So yeah, I mean oof, what a mess.
Yeah.
But actually, and then we can transition maybe with this. Pomp, who used to work for, I think actually posted the most, he probably just ripped it and reposted it, but the most interesting video I've seen, it's an overlay of Trump's head from the top, and it like shows his head and ears, but it's like a graph, like a medical image.
Mm-hmm.
And it's queued up to what Trump was saying, but it's in slow motion. And then it has the bullet coming in. So it's like I don't know, what you call it, graphical representation or something. And as the words are coming in, he turns his head. So it like shows like where the bullet was going. And then like this slight head turn and it hits the ear. Oh. And it's crazy.
Yeah, they took the video and then they like used some software to map out his head to make like a 3D rendering of his head in space based on the bullet. And then it shows you like a bird's eye view of the top of his head and the different angles of the bullet. And it's like, that bullet was going straight to the back of his brainstem.
Crazy. And then to end with lockers in the camera room, Jeff, what's the movie with Al Pacino about this is a game of inches?
Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday. So someone took Any Given Sunday and like tied it up, the whole thing. And oh man, it is... I don't care what side
the internet's undefeated.
you're on. Yeah, if you watch that video, you're like, oh man, what? It's a game of inches, baby.
Oh my gosh. The inches we need are all around.
All right.
What a great...
My mom's still listening. Next slide.
What a great quote. Trey, a little thing you posted this is just completely kind of jumping gears or switching gears. Trey, you posted, should officers get medals? This is kind of talking like military stuff.
Yeah, military question.
Do you have a take on this? Or you want to know our opinions?
I have an opinion, man.
Oh.
I had an opinion. Well, first of all, come from an officer with like 2 medals, right? So
2 Marines, 2 medals. Dan Daly, Smedley Butler.
There you go, man. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of, I don't know, just writing. I come from the guy who had to like write his own NAM as he was getting out, which I thought was silly. But I'm kind of against officers getting medals,
like personal awards, or
yeah. I to me, man, I think that's something that like I think as an officer, like you're a servant leader, right? That's the way I kind of look at it.
Man.
And so like you're taking care of your Marines. You're making sure that they're squared away. When they do something, you highlight them. Like it's not your achievement, it's your Marines' achievement, right? And
can I ask a dumb question? I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is a dumb civilian question. Who else would get them?
Enlisted.
Enlisted. Okay, yeah. I didn't know. I was like,
so officer, you're commissioned, you have a college degree, you start as second lieutenant, work up through the general ranks. Enlisted, you can join at 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's basically saying the role of the officer is
be the servant leader.
Yeah, so like it's not about you, therefore why would you show your
then that's my other question would be like, what are the medals for then? Because I would think, medal, like you've done a really good job and risen up the ranks. Like wouldn't an officer get a medal? But these medals mean different things?
They can mean a lot of different things. Yeah, it's kind of like, it can be, hey, you went and did a training exercise and this guy like crushed it. He was doing 3 people's job because he was, you were short people and he did these 3 people's jobs and one of them was like 2 ranks above his, right? Okay, hey, that guy's getting a medal because he just did an outstanding job for this, maybe like 2-week exercise.
Right.
And there's also ones where it's like, Trey had been, a lieutenant at an artillery battalion for, 3 years, did great work, so usually it's like an end of tour award that kind of like, hey, you did a great job here. Thanks for everything you did. Here is your like kind of personal award to kind of cap off your time here. So those are kind of like the 2 different flavors you'll see of them. It's kind of like impact and then something that's like, hey, your time at this unit or in the Marine Corps has come to an end. We want to recognize like you doing a great job. So here's a medal.
And then there's like a combat side that could be elevated to it.
Yeah,
so
that too.
There's also like levels to them.
Yeah.
And I know about the Purple Heart. That's like
injured, right? So then there's a
Medal of Honor.
Right. Yeah. So like that's what everyone hears about the top stuff, but it might be like, so a lower level. I mean, I say lower level.
But yeah.
An award that has to be signed off by a lieutenant colonel. It's called a Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. It's called a NAM for short. So it's like a little green and white one. But if you're in combat and maybe, I don't know, I save your life, I might get a NAM with a V, meaning with valor, right?
Okay.
And so there's like levels to it. I mean, the award system, I think, Trey, what I would say is like, I actually think the hope would be that everyone thought like you think, right? But then there's definitely been times like, and not just in combat, but where like officers have like done things that have been, I say heroic if it's in combat or heroic if it's like in garrison where they do. And so, I'm kind
100%.
of, yeah, I mean, that's why, what do we not get? We don't get the good conduct medal because they expect officers to have good conduct. And so really my question would be like, where is the level of, good conduct plus good performance expected for an officer, and then at some point there's something higher.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and it's even more blurry in the reserves. I got an 8-year guy leaving now as a staff sergeant. He's never deployed. He's been ready to deploy. The unit hasn't deployed. He's awesome. He's like one of our heavy hitters. His business is taking off. He's getting out. He's a staff sergeant, and I'm like, yeah, we gotta give this Marine an amp. And people could be like, oh yeah, but I mean, what has he done 7 ATs, annual training, 7 14-day period, or whatever, like people could say. And like the awards system is just like,
I got a lot of gripes.
I don't actually know how you fix it. Like how you make it better. But I just think that officers definitely shouldn't be hunting them.
No.
Which I don't think that most of them are, right? But at the same time, I've seen a lot of good because you say you wrote your own awards, and for the people listening, you didn't write your own award because you said, hey, I want this. You wrote your own award because the lieutenant colonel at the battalion was like, hey, this guy was really good. Make sure he gets a NAM. And then the major over you was like, hey, I just got here 3 months ago. I don't really know what you did. Tell me what you've done for the last, right? Like that's what you mean by it is you captured what you did.
Like, I want this.
It's not like, oh, I want my own award. And so that's where it just, yeah.
And I just, like I said, I get the situation of what it was. Like new major came in, I had to write my own.
Sure.
So
I was right.
You just feel dirty doing it. Like, oh, look how great I am.
And then I did this, and then I did this. Yeah, it's terrible.
Trey, you'll like this though. This is one of my favorite takes on that. Like, and this is like, staff NCOs and officers. So like you're kind of like more senior enlisted and officers. I heard this take from Master Sergeant Ernie Corrado, and he's like, you know what?
Ooh, Corrado.
He's like, staff NCOs and officers, we don't need personal awards. Our award comes on the 1st and the 15th of the month. And he's referring to your paycheck. Like, he's like, okay, we get paid pretty well. So like, that's your thank you is like, yep, here's your nice paycheck on the 1st of the month and the 15th of the month. Give the awards to the lower enlisted guys. Let them like celebrate that stuff. And I was like,
great hot take from Top.
Like
at the same time, he'd look a major in the face and be like, I worked really hard. Where's my award, sir?
Yeah.
It's always the officer's fault. No, I don't mean that as Corrado. I just mean in general, right? Like, you have a conversation with a senior enlisted and they'll be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, sir. Oh, I just finished 4 years here. Where's my whatever?
Dude, yeah. And all like the little like the award system, like, really grinds my gears. There's like all these like little like rules that like aren't actually like written anywhere, but they're like, well, you can't give him that award because he's only like a sergeant or he's a corporal, or like you can't give him an impact Navy comm, like he didn't save anyone's life. And it's like, what? Like where's that rule like written? They're like, no, this is just like an unwritten rule. And you're like,
you know why I like the fact that we're arguing that it's broken? Is because it means that we are not in a large scale World War conflict. Because when people are dying, the award system is fixed. It's like, no, I saw that guy die. Give him this award.
Yeah.
Or this guy saved. Like, so I like that it's broken, but no, I know you mean.
It's a great garrison discussion for sure.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you feel that some people are maybe getting awards that shouldn't, and some people aren't getting awards that should.
Definitely.
My philosophy, and like I said, it's a hot take. I asked the question is mainly because I'm like, my philosophy is I think officers should be giving their Marines awards. Like I think that's your job is to serve them, and like I said, I don't think officers need awards. Like Jeff said, they get paid very well. Like I think that's an award enough in itself. And then I don't know. It was kind of a hot take as far as
it's good. I love it.
So
I love it.
No,
but to his point, there's been a lot of great officers who've done a lot of brave things in combat who 100% deserve that. So
no, I know you think that too. That's why I just think it's a really confusing to do.
Some militaries around the world have that policy. Officers don't get awards. Only enlisted do. So.
Can you name any countries off the top of your head?
For some reason, I don't know why I felt like England was one or France. I could
see that.
Yeah, I feel like Prince Harry's got some awards.
No one looked that up. Yeah.
No
one. He's not a prince anymore, is he?
Yeah. No, he's not.
He's just Harry now.
I feel like we got to move into some sports. But before we do that, I'm kind of sweating here. It's because I got so many lights in here. And the lights are on because of one guy. And his name's BW. And it's a selective group of folks that we allow to sponsor us. And so far, we selected one. And
tough selection.
I just want to shout out BW. Great guy. Every time I have a tax question, he's who I go to. But, we're coming off this military talk. We've had an Air Force captain on here, and I know that Jordy knows exactly which button to push to play it. So if we think about it back to front, you have Tanner, Matios, Jim Denofa.
I love how the stakes
Andy,
are so high.
So high.
And then is that
Pressing the right button.
Now he's amping up because he's calling out like, I know what this button is, I know what this button is, I know what that button is. So therefore,
go ahead and play it.
But if you get it wrong, like that's it.
Attention to orders.
If I get it wrong, it blows up.
oh my God.
Well, what I love about BW Tax is that they're actual people. They're a small company with actual people. They will answer the phone, take care of you anytime, day or night. Is it 2:30 in the morning and you've just delivered somebody's baby and you're like, you know what? I had this tax question. BW Tax will be there to answer your questions. If you're somebody who went through medical school and you may have a lot of debt because you didn't join the military and sell your soul, and you've got all that debt and you're like, how could I get some tax relief? Who might I go to? Who might have the answers with my numbers? Go to BW Tax. If you join the military and you get a lot of perks, or you've got to deal with a lot of extra paperwork outside of all the other paperwork you deal with your daily job, and you've got a wife and a kid, and you've got to figure out what's the best way to get a return on my investment and get some tax return so I can go buy some American-made iron plates, you go to BW Tax. You just call them anytime, day or night, they'll be there. And the best part is, they're Boston Celtics fans through and through. So no matter who you are, they'll take good care of you.
That's the first time I've heard that, and he did a really good job.
Great job.
He smoked it. He should get an award.
He was most prepared.
He should get an award.
Get an award. Oh, let's write him up for an OVSM.
Oh my God.
Could we write him up for one in our system, Jeff? Can you write up an Air Force? Like, could we write him up for an outstanding volunteer service medal about how he educated a Marine audience that reached over 50 states and worldwide? We have listeners in other countries on how to be in shape and fitness. I think we could write him up for
If
that.
we get his EDIPI.
Is Trey okay with it? Is Trey okay with it?
Is he an officer?
Yeah, he's a captain.
Not,
But it's a volunteer service medal.
Sorry, dude.
It's a volunteer. Actually, also, Jeff, Trey wasn't here that episode, so
That's true.
Loophole.
doesn't get a vote.
That's true. I don't get a vote.
Dang.
I'm gonna look into that, and then we could present it to him at the Lift Hard Live Easy 3.
The Lift Hard Live Easy
We just need to
Classic.
have-
What's that?
Oh, tell me more.
Is that something you're preparing for?
Yeah, I'm leaving in 36 hours.
Dang.
How's your shoulder?
The hay in the barn?
My shoulder's fine. Yeah, it's in the barn. My shoulder,
Uh-oh.
Okay, so Lift Hard, Live Easy 2. Let me plug it. If you're listening to this, it's Friday. That means I'm competing tomorrow. I'm a bench press specialist. I don't have time to squat and deadlift. I'm here to bench because, as Huck Finn Barbell would say, build the chest and, do whatever to the rest. And so I'm here for the chest. No, but the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic, it's Mastonomics podcast. If you don't listen to it, it's a podcast about nothing. If you thought we were too political today, they're way less political than us. They have a lot of hot takes. Jeff's wearing the hat.
Me too.
They often cover sparkling waters and things of that sort, but they run a powerlifting meet in Aberdeen, South Dakota. If you want to go, we'll forewarn you, it's hard to get there. You cannot book your ticket last minute. You need to plan to get to Aberdeen, South Dakota. But Friday night, there's a get together at Tanner's house. Saturday, the event's in a hockey arena. This is the second year. They're calling it part 2. But it's a powerlifting competition put on by XPC. I'm 90% sure that's correct. And Big Gino Powerlifting is the one, thanks, Jeff, is the one that is announcing it this year. So that's exciting. Barefoot Shoes will be there. Build Fast Formula will be there. We'll be there. Yeah, Strength Co will be there. And yeah, so I'm going to compete in the bench press only. I wasn't going to compete because I'm going there to sell people stuff and meet and greet and have a good time and hopefully record stuff for people that can't make it there. But I wanted to compete and I realized that they had a bench only option. And I said, well, I don't have to throw my whole day away. I can just put on my leotard for an hour and warm up the bench, and my bench is moving good now. I'll do that. And then of course I messed up my shoulder squatting and it's not serious. It's a combination of things. I had all my singles kind of planned out. And then when I was in Boston for the Celtics bringing home banner 18. They called me. They're like, hey, we want to bring home banner 18. Can you come? And I was like, sure, no problem.
That's awesome.
And then I went home and lifted with my cousin, and he was trying to PR his bench. He taught me into PR. So I did. I hit 380, which was awesome.
Nice.
And like I felt a little something in my shoulder. And then squatting since then, it's not bad, but it's definitely like I have not been benching very much, and I haven't been pressing heavy. I did bench on Saturday 350 for a single, which moved just fine, just to make sure like, can I bench heavy?
Yeah.
And so I warmed up a lot and went, and it's fine. It's just annoying that it's like, oh, my bench is moving well. I'll do a bench press competition. It's only 8 weeks from now. And then it's like, what hurts? The shoulder that you used to bench. But that's what it's like being a master's lifter, which, I've crossed over into.
Wow.
So
What's the threshold?
35.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
35.
club.
You and
So,
Richard Simmons.
Yeah. So we'll be over there. So Connor and I will meet. Oh, I was supposed to call Connor. Is there a way to call Connor?
Yeah.
Well, now we're on Riverside. I can't see him on Zoom link.
You can send him a Riverside link.
Yeah, it's probably too late. We'll just, Connor, you're missed.
Call him on the phone and just hold it up.
That's right.
We'll see
He's
if it
not listening.
works.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, will he be able to hear me?
Yeah, because you're talking to
But
the
will
phone.
I be able to hear him?
Yeah, because just put on speakerphone.
All right, here we go. And take one ear off.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't even need to.
See how this goes. Connor, is that you?
Oh, this is me. Oh, am I live right now?
You're live.
Yeah. Do you know what podcast you're on?
This just has to be. Is this the underpaid and overrated?
Close.
No. Should I hang up now, or are you going to do it right?
No, I'm just kidding. I could do it right now.
Oh.
No, you know I'm live.
Just
All right,
threatens him.
You're not watching the Republican.
I don't know. Sounds like he's watching politics. What podcast are you on, Connor?
This is the Massonomics podcast.
Sure. Yeah. Like, close enough.
This is the OK podcast.
Okay.
We gotta get it in post.
Yeah, we'll get it in post. I'm sorry you can't hear Trey and Jeff laughing, but you got a good rise out of them just there. I was a little worried you were going to say it was the Starting Strength podcast and then Joe Rogan and then hit us. So we're glad you hit us in number 3. But can you tell us a little bit about your road to the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic Part 2?
Yeah. So training's been great, especially when I decided I'm not going to compete. I just took all the burden off of training. So training's been actually pretty pleasurable. As far as prep for getting ready, it's not much different than Arnold. I just have to time things to where I arrive at the scene after Grant by a few hours and he'll have everything set up.
Classic.
And it should be pretty smooth sailing from there.
Yeah. No,
I could do a coffee run for everybody. Just trying to think of the things I could offer.
well, so you're what we'd call a veteran. This isn't your first rodeo, so to speak. If you've never been to the Lift Hard, Live Easy, what would you? How would you summarize it for folks?
It is. You cannot be more experienced than I am. There's only been 2 of them.
There's only been one of them.
I feel like I'm already there. It's kind of already started. You get flying to the big city of Sioux Falls, and then you got to head. What is it? About a 3.5 hour drive to Aberdeen.
Jeez.
And it's just the slice of life of hanging out in Aberdeen is great. It's a little shocking at first. It's fantastic. The Massonomics guys set up a whole map for you when you get there of points of interest, where to go. We pretty much knocked all those things. You got Taco John's. You definitely got to go see the Massonomics billboards that are promoting the event. The Strength Co. billboard is kind of premiering this year, so excited to go see that on the flip side of the Massonomics one. It's
Brock the Rock.
Kind of like it's a tiny micro slice of the Arnold as far as attendance, but the bonds and connections there
Only the cool people.
are, I would have to say, a lot stronger than at the Arnold. It's such a niche, cool lifting club. It's not a cult.
Trey says it's only the cool people.
It's only the cool people. Trey, you're invited. I'm sure you were invited. You can comment. You can get a flight out to Sioux Falls or Rapid City. I highly recommend it.
Aw.
And it's everyone's like, whether you've met them or not, you say hi, they've got a Massonomic shirt or they got a Strength Coach shirt on, and everyone's like best friends whether you met someone or not.
So you made some special apparel for this year. Do you want to tell the folks like what it is and why?
Yeah,
and why?
Yeah. So Tommy does the graphic designing, right? So he came up with a pretty cool logo this year. It's a hockey mask, and it's a homage to the Friday the 13th series, which, as you know, Grant, you're a movie guy that's had probably 12 sequels.
I didn't know.
It's a prequel to Freaky Friday.
They took the classic like Friday the 13th logo with the hockey mask, the old school hockey mask with the knife going through the eye. They replaced the knife with a barbell. They added a cool double beer helmet on the thing, and so that's a pretty cool thing. So I saw that and I go, wow, hockey masks are easy to come by. So I jumped on Amazon. I made a custom Strength Co. hockey mask. It'll be the only thing we're wearing that's not made in the USA. It's actually really hard to find a plastic Halloween hockey mask that's made in the USA. That might be something we can look into for next year.
Yeah, Grant, you got something.
I'm on it.
Put it on
Make
the
it out of
store.
cast iron.
So yeah, we'll be repping those. I got a couple masks. Look for the guy in the hockey mask. I think a lot of people have hockey masks. I think a lot of people are rolling with that idea. I thought it was original, and then I jumped on Instagram and saw a reel with like 40 people already doing it. But still be fun.
All right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting some good Aberdeen cuisine. I'm excited for the zoo. I'm excited for the circus. That's kind of it's the zoo, the circus, Pounders. I think those are the spots.
So we're kind of doing a reverse trip though this year. We're not going into Sioux Falls.
Sure.
We're going to Rapid City. And have you done any research on Deadwood, Mount Rushmore, the Black Hills?
I have not, other than we did some research last year when we realized that Sioux Falls is still like, South Dakota is like 7 hours from South Dakota. I think we thought everything was going to be within reach, and we found out it was like the other points of interest are about 6-7 hours away. So we're flying to Rapid City. I know Rushmore's there. Got to see it. Grant, if we can get a plate up there, if we get a photo op with the faces, that would be cool. Is it a hike? Does D know? It's not a hike, right?
No, you can drive up to it. You can drive up to it. Yeah,
I'm just making sure we're not like, hey D, let's take the hike up to the faces. I don't want to.
Yeah, if there's one
torture
thing,
your pregnant wife.
If there's one thing I like doing, it's making a 6-month pregnant woman move a lot of distance.
Bigger
So
carry
I
the
love-
plate.
I'll kind of put you on the spot here because we can all hear you, but you can't hear them because this is the last minute deal. But we've been talking about attempted or successful assassination attempts. And since we're going to Mount Rushmore, can you give us your Mount Rushmore of presidents that have either been assassinated or attempted assassinations?
In no particular order.
In no particular order, and it means nothing, but just I'm just curious if you can come up with 4.
Trump, Reagan, Kennedy. Attempted for Reagan. Kennedy successful, in case you didn't hear.
What?
You got a big laugh out of Trey.
All listeners. Can I phone a friend? Hey, Dad. I'm at my dad's place. He's barbecuing. He's trying to figure out the trigger app. But hold on, he's gonna know this.
You can't think of a 4th?
Lincoln. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, okay.
I need to see this play like a hole. I need a hole in my head, right?
Yeah. Well, we'd keep you on longer, but since you can't hear them, you talk to me on the phone all the time. But looking forward to
fun. I'll hear them on the flight to Rapid City when I'm listening to the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we'll see you in 2 days.
Tell him to quit ignoring my phone calls.
Wow.
Yeah, quit ignoring Trey's phone calls, he says. And since you're here, real quick, I know you're a school teacher in California. I know you're SPED. I know your wife teaches school. You also are a contractor for a coaching business. If you were to look at your income at the end of the year, it's kind of complex. We have some friends here in South Carolina, but it really doesn't matter where you live. They can handle your taxes. It's my friend. His name is BW, last name Tax. Can you talk about why people should, reach out to him?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, what I've learned in the past few years since starting to work for Grant, it's a complicated world. When I first started out, first job, taxes were easy. I would go, quick tax, buy the software at Costco. I had one W-2. Now I'm a teacher. I've got a W-2. I'm an independent contractor, which opens up a whole new world of keeping track of my expenses, my various coaching expenses, my gym chalk, my milk. All these things are write-offs. And so the people at BW Tax are able to help you navigate that. So if you're an independent contractor, if you're in the gig economy, if you're an Uber driver, Uber Eats, whatever, they're here to help you out. They don't necessarily, I'm way out in California, but they'll still help you out. They're not prejudiced against Californians like some people I know. They can help you out online. You don't have to be in South Carolina. It's really good to just have someone to talk to, help you navigate, and get the most out of the return. There's nothing better than the feeling of that final line on there when they tell you what you're getting back, even though it's money that was kind of stolen from you from the first place anyways, but that's another topic. It's an exciting feeling. So go, save yourself the stress. It's never too early to start thinking about it. Reach out to BW Tax. It'll help you with all your tax needs, you and your family. Tell your family, tell your friends.
bwtaxllc.com. All right, Connor, we'll see you soon.
All right, later, guys.
Bye, Connor.
That wasn't the best, that wasn't the worst, but I could tell that he really tried.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the effort was there.
Yeah.
Big Poppy's son got drafted by the Red Sox.
Oh,
Little Poppy.
Yeah. It starts with a D. D'Angelo.
Small Poppy.
D'Angelo Poppy. D'Angelo Poppy.
Hey, puppy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite ESPN commercials when they were like good was when it's like David Ortiz and Jorge Posada sitting in like the conference room or something like that, and like Jorge Posada has like a brand new Yankees hat, and like David Ortiz is like, "Hey, what's going on with this hat? Like it looks too new." He's like, "I'm a catcher, I don't wear it." And then David Ortiz like puts on like the Yankees hat and it's like flexing the brim and stuff like that. And then Wally, the like green mascot for the Red Sox, like walks up and he's like, "Hey, Wally, it's not what you think." It's great. It's a great moment.
Yeah. That's pretty good one. It's a good one.
You should Google it.
I think at this point we move into saved rounds and alibis.
Save rounds. I saw you were moving some plates over the weekend, my man.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, we were going back and forth at like 10:45 p.m. or something on Saturday. Just what meme is next?
Yeah, we sold some plates.
That's good.
We did a sale. I saw it happen. Jordy and I started joking of what's the Trump meme, and we both were like, "No, it's too soon. You can't make a meme." And then, like 3 hours later, everyone was selling T-shirts made in China.
I was about to say, you lost the internet.
Yeah, everyone was buying them. And I just thought, you know what? I make an American-made product and it happens to have the number 45. And regardless of your politics, if you're fired up right now, we're running a sale. And yeah, so we sold some 45s. We got a little bit of hate. Only in the Instagram comments. Each one of those we looked up, not our customers. But I will say it was a really good weekend of sales. A lot of people wanted to buy. And, it's funny, so I could talk about this just from the Strength Co business perspective, but it's interesting to me, the amount of people that were talking about, like when people get really emotionally charged, it's like one of the things they want to do is like, do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just thought, hey, I make an American made plate. It supports American jobs. It's on sale. Come and take it. And they took it. I
feel like Trump would approve of that. He'd be on board. He'd be like, "Oh yeah,
yeah."
Yeah.
He's actually probably mad that those T-shirts being made aren't by his campaign.
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell? Why were we so slow to market?
T-shirts.
He's like, why aren't the plates gold with my face on them?
Oh yeah, we should have him design the plate.
Yeah.
A little collaboration.
We sold some plates. Yeah, collab.
But now you just join the ranks of possible conspiracy theories. If they're like, oh, this was all Strength Co. orchestrated so he could sell
This
some
was
plates.
orchestrated by the Strength Co.
45s, President number 45.
that's
The
the
coincidences are
elephant
just
of the room.
adding up. Grant.
And then he talked about the Mount Rushmore of assassination attempts. I hear he's there next week.
Yep.
Do we have a second shooter?
That's the title of the episode today.
I'm kind of worried about this weekend, to be honest.
How's the security in Aberdeen?
Man, I got my 6-month pregnant wife, Connor, and I might have to bring my cat, Waylon.
Be good.
What security in Aberdeen? It's too far.
Yeah, they're like,
There's no security.
There's also no
There's gonna be
assassins
away from
because
the
they're
bad
like, I
guys.
couldn't
There's
get
also
there.
no assassins.
I couldn't get to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
The flight
They're still-
schedule was too complicated.
They're still traveling there.
It really is, though. You know, like living in California for 12 years, like I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina, and I would always complain, like, going home to Beaufort is so hard. And it's really not. You connect in Atlanta or Charlotte, or you fly to Atlanta or Charlotte, and then you have a 4 to 5 hour commute. And then you fly to Savannah or Charleston, you have like an hour and 20. Like, it's not like super crazy. And I remember last year when they first launched this thing, I'm like, dude, I'm there. And like 2 months went by and I went to book travel. I was like, wait, I have to fly. I have to connect to fly to someone there and then drive 3 hours. What is this? Like, where do you live? And then I went there and I realized that it's like a storybook land. It's amazing.
It's still far. Jeez.
It's so far. Jeremy's in Wyoming this week, fly fishing,
Ooh.
which we'll go quick shout out.
Damn.
Fly fishing guide, Hare's Fly Fishing or Hare's Ear Fly Fishing. John Connett's going to be on the show next week. So it's going to be a heavy fishing episode. But my brother is fly fishing in Wyoming right now. And, you know, he lifts with us on our live Zoom lifts. So if you're looking for coaching, go to strength.co, click the media page, scroll down the bottom, click coaching. If you want to come on live a couple days a week with me and a bunch of like-minded lifters, you can do that. If you want to join us on Slack, talk to Trey, talk to Jeff, talk to PJ. You want to talk about you couldn't get news for what was happening on Saturday, you could get news there. You want to talk about how you need to lose weight? Well, there's people in the weight loss channel trying to lose weight. You want to talk about, hey, I'm a novice or I'm getting back to lifting. We can answer those questions. But in any event, the lifters there all were like, oh, Wyoming, close to South Dakota. Oh, Grant, you and Jeremy, you're both in those states on the same weekend. Are you guys going to hang out?
Totally.
And I was like, absolutely not. And they were like, why not? I was like, because I can't even see Mount Rushmore without making a 6.5 hour drive. There's no way I'm going to Wyoming, even if the fishing's good. And I am still on the horns of a dilemma in terms of I kind of want to pack my fly fishing rod just in case if in the Black
Is there
Hills-
anything up there?
Yeah, the Black Hills where we're staying the first night, there's a bunch of streams, but it's like we have 12 hours and, you know, I don't want to be like, D, hang out with Connor. I'm going to go fly fish. But at the same time, like, what if you're like hiking up to someone's grave and like there's a stream? It's like, look, water, what prevents me from fishing? I mean, you know, it's tough. So
That's it. That's honestly one of the toughest questions I've heard today. So
yeah.
I don't think I got any safe rounds.
Chapter 2. It says,
Yeah.
look, water. What am I said? Well, why can't I be baptized? Yeah. Anyway.
the
Jeff-
eunuch.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I'm named after him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Middle name, Philip.
Tell us how you really feel,
Jeff, any more save rounds, alibis? Okay, PJ,
I'm good.
your chamber's empty. Everyone's favorite part of the show takes longer than it needs to, gets half the information.
Okay.
you want, but Trey, if you could. Yeah.
Wow.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Good night. What episode is this?
029.
029. You've been listening to episode 029 of the
Okay.
We're getting worse.
Want to thank everybody for listening. Want to thank our sponsor, BW Tax, as always, keeping the power on. Powered by Strength Co. Join us in the Slack, as Grant said.
I think
Find
I'm
the
getting
link
close to
below.
1 million followers.
Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe there. Leave some comments. Find us on our own individual social media accounts that I know everybody's, and I feel like everybody knows y'all's at this point in time.
Everyone knows them.
Hey, Biggie
Most
JP.
crucial
it's a
step.
hot account.
Do not
Huge
disconnect.
account. But the best way to find it is go to www.theokpodcast.com. Find all the links there. Thanks again for listening.
Yeah, thanks. And we'll see you next time.